I'm Bruce Braley, and I'm the current chair of the Populist Caucus, which was founded to promote policies and values that will protect and expand the middle class. We founded the Populist Caucus on the footsteps of people like Tom Harkin, who had founded another Populist Caucus in the House during the height of the farm crisis to stand up and fight for working families and to craft economic policies that benefited them. One of the founding principles we adopted when we formed the Populist Caucus was to fight for working families by creating and retaining good-paying jobs. And for the past 8 years, our economic policies have put the interest of Wall Street ahead of the interest of Main Street. And you've heard from my colleagues why that has not worked and what a shared sacrifice we have asked the people of this country to engage in to rebuild a strong and robust Wall Street. The reason why we're introducing this Wall Street transaction tax today is because we need to get our economy working again for middle-class families. That's who I'm fighting for every day, and that's who our federal government should be fighting for. As chairman of the Populist Caucus, I'm proud to announce the Populist Caucus support and endorsement of the Let Wall Street Pay for the Restoration of Main Street Act. One of our founding principles was also to hold corporations accountable for their actions to protect jobs and the savings of the middle class. As we know, irresponsible Wall Street practices led to the near collapse of our nation's economy. This bill holds them accountable for their actions by charging a tiny transaction fee for high-risk activity while creating jobs for the middle-class families and reducing our nation's debts. And that's why 13 members of the Populist Caucus have already signed on as co-sponsors of this bill. With that, I'd like to introduce one of the vice chairs of the Populist Caucus, my friend from New York, Mike Arcuri.
I'd like to say thank you to Congressman DeFazio and Senator Harkin for bringing us to this point today. We have a number of people who want to speak, so I'll be very short. But I think it's important to note that this bill is critical because it does two things. One, it helps to pay down the deficit. And secondly, it helps to provide funding so that we can continue to build our infrastructure. You know, we see our infrastructure crumbling. In New York, we see a bridge between New York and Vermont that we don't have the money to put into repair. And it's closed down. It is critical. This bill is one way to help fund that. You know, it's not about retribution. This bill is not about a quid pro quo, but rather it's about fairness. It's about the American people having stepped up to help to bail out Wall Street, and it's about Wall Street stepping up to help middle America, to help to fund the rebuilding of our infrastructure. So I am a very proud co-sponsor of this bill, and I look forward to continuing to get co-sponsors and move forward with it. With that, I'd like to introduce a good friend, a former colleague from the Rules Committee, Betty Sutton.
Thank you, Mike, and I want to thank Senator Harkin and Representative DeFazio for their leadership on this very important initiative. I've heard it said that we're in a jobless recovery, but I would assert there can be no such thing as a jobless recovery. If a recovery is to be meaningful, we have to have the employment of people across America. And the economic crisis that has hurt so many Americans has origins on Wall Street. Wall Street's risky and irresponsible actions damaged our economy and helped explode the deficit. And when Wall Street was on the brink of collapse, we helped them. We intervened. But let's be clear, we did not intervene so that we could bail them out because we were fans of their behavior. We intervened because we knew the failure to do so would hurt ordinary citizens. And while experts are saying now that Wall Street is rebounding, it's doing so on the backs of the American people who continue to struggle. So a recovery on Wall Street alone is not a meaningful enough of a recovery. We have to bring people back to work and restore the promise of the middle class. And so, as has been said so eloquently by speakers before me, now it's time for Wall Street to help Main Street. Time for them to help pay back the American people and benefit in their own right at the same time. Because this bill, if enacted and when enacted, will help not only ordinary America, but as we said, it will help us all. By helping to build real value through the construction of infrastructure, as opposed to the risky pretend value that was being traded on Wall Street. And it will also enable us to pay down the deficit so that we can have the benefit and generations to come will have the benefit of that reduction. This isn't, as has been expressed, a new thing. We have done this before. It makes sense, especially in this time and under these conditions. So again, I want to just assert, there can be no such thing as a jobless recovery. That is unacceptable. The ordinary Americans deserve better, and this bill will help to give them more of what they deserve.